What is up guys, Andy Forrest, Team Runner here, and today we're talking about the ones that got away, the shoes I wish I tested during 2021. So welcome back to another video, and today is quite a fun one, quite a frustrating one. It's where we sit down and look at the shoes that got away this year, the ones that I wanted to test that were on the hit list, but for one reason or another we didn't end up getting around to testing. Now today we'll go through those shoes. There are about 5 or 6 of them that I had on my list this year that I really did want to try, and for one reason or another, which we'll go through on each of the shoes, it didn't end up happening. We'll go through it, and of course at the end I'd love to hear your thoughts on the shoes that got away from you this year. If you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll start with the list of shoes. So let's kickstart things off with the New Balance RC Elite 2. Oh, a racing shoe I really wanted to try, but I've drawn a line in the sand with this thing now and accepted that we will not be testing it, and I will wait until next year and see if the new version launches in a UK size 13, because that's exactly the reason I didn't end up getting version 2 straight away. So version 1 came out last year and I was so obsessed with the Fuel Cell TC. What a shoe that was. Long run tempo workouts in that thing. It ate them up. It was the best shoe I had in my rotation for that, and I still highly rate that shoe. RC Elite comes out version 1, doesn't come out in a UK size 13, stops at a 12. Frustration is insane, because I thought, God, if they refine this TC to be a racing shoe and even lighter, I'm all over it like a rash. Didn't happen. Fast forward a year to this year, RC Elite 2 comes out, do not do it in my size. And the frustration there is even more. Thankfully, 2 or 3 months later, they did end up deciding to release, first of all, the purple colourway in my UK size 13, and then I think some other colourways, a London version and other versions in a 13, and they're still readily available now. But by that point, I'd already been sent the Next Percent 2s by Nike. I'd already bought myself a pair of the Next Percent 2s. I had my original Next Percents that were still going, and I was still enjoying racing in the Endorphin Pros, and I just thought, I don't really, as much as I want now another racing shoe, it kind of, that ship had sailed, and I thought, do you know what? And I ummed and ahed about it. I've seen it on sale here and there this year, but I just thought, do I want to spend nearly £200 on a shoe that is just going to sit there, and is it going to be superseded? Am I still going to be going to the Next Percent for racing over this thing? I just don't know. So I ended up deciding not to get it in the end. I think though, if they'd have released it in a 13 in the first place, I would have 100% bought it. Moving on to the second shoe, one that I really wanted to test was the Skechers Max Road 5. So obviously I delved into the world of Skechers this year, and quite recently with the Razor XS, and I am absolutely loving that shoe. And all of you in the comments of that video, I said, what other Skechers shoes should I try? What's great right now? And you all said, most of you said, the Max Road 5. So I checked it out, I had a look at some other reviews on it, I thought, yeah, do you know what? This sounds like the shoe that I want for my daily easy miles. At the time, I had the Nova Blast and the Mach 4 going in rotation, and I was swapping between those to the easy miles, but I thought, do you know what? I'm more than happy, because my Mach 4 is coming to the end of its life, and then I can slot this Max Road 5 into that place and have those two rotating on my daily trainer list. However, guess what? They did not do my size again. On the Skechers website, I think they went up to a 12. They're even more highly sought after now. Like, checked the website the other day. I'm still checking. It's a shoe that actually I have not drawn a line in the sand on. I do still want to get it. And if any of you guys have found it in a UK size 13, US 14 anywhere, do let me know. I will consider grabbing it at some point. I might not, but I'm still open to that fact, because at the moment now the Mach 4 is done and dusted, it's retired, and I'm just using the Nova Blast for my easy mile. So that was another shoe that I really wanted. As I said, sadly sizing meant that I could not grab it. I don't even know if they've made it in a 13, to be honest with you, but either way it's a shame, because that would have been a great addition to the rotation. And speaking of the Hoka Mach 4, one of its compatriots, the Clifton 8, is another one that has escaped my grasp this this year. I mentioned the Clifton 7 on last year's video. It's a lineup that is a staple for Hoka, and it's one that I keep meaning to jump into every year. I just really should try one iteration of this shoe. Funnily enough, I was out with Matt, the Welsh runner, the other day running in my Nova Blast, and he was in his Nova Blast, and he said to me he actually preferred the Clifton 8 to the Nova Blast 2s, which I was like, wow, that's a statement. Now I know a lot of you guys love the Clifton 8, a lot of you don't like it. It's one that I really feel like I should try. I've tried the Rincons, I've tried the Mach 4, I've tried the Torrents, I've tried the Carbon X's, I've tried the Rocket X's, but I have not tried the Cliftons. Now for me, Hoka is the most confusing and frustrating brand at the moment. Their midsole foams just need a good shake up. They do not last long enough for me. What I wanted to do, bar the Mach 4, which is an exception, what I wanted to do again when this came out was slot it in to my easy daily run rotation. Again, at the time I had the Nova Blast and the Mach 4, and again I thought to myself when it came out there was no other reason for me not to buy it other than, well, I've got a couple of shoes going at the moment. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to want two Hokas in the rotation. I'm thinking the Mach 4 is kind of doing the Clifton job from what you guys were telling me in the comments, but doing it a little bit better because it was a little bit lighter. So I thought, well, why am I going to have two very similar shoes? Let's wait for the Mach 4 to disappear and then slot the Clifton 8 in. But then of course the Maxro 5 came along, that thought process came in, and the Clifton 8 just bumped itself down and it never made an appearance. And again, it's one of those shoes that I think I've probably now just drawn a line in the sand and accepted I'm not going to get it this year. I think for me with Hoka, I love to have a Hoka shoe in my rotation, but I don't like to have too many because I do feel like they can be a little bit of a waste of money, which is such a frustrating thing to say because I find them one of the most comfiest shoes to run in, but I just don't think it's acceptable really that every single one of their trainers, really for me anyway, doesn't tend to last much more than 300 miles. I did the 300 mile update review in the Mach 4, and shortly after that I had to retire it because I really did start to feel the foam starting to compress. To be honest with you, I kind of accept just over 300 miles, but with the Rincon not even getting to 200 and my Torrent 2s only just making it to 180 before my ankle really started to roll in because the foam collapsed in that, I just feel like it's not a shoe that I want to invest in. Now here's a good one for you. The fourth shoe that I missed out on and that I am really curious about is the Invincible, the Nike Invincible. This thing came out in January, alongside the Ultra Boost 21. Now those two shoes came out onto the market being stupidly heavy and stupidly overpriced. £160 for the Invincible and £160 for the Ultra Boost, and I kind of scoffed at that price and was like, oh my goodness, it's heavy, it's weighty, why am I going to pay that much money for such a trainer? Yes, alright, it's got Zoom X in it, yes, it's a great foam, yes, I know that it will probably be fantastic, but to be honest with you, I felt like it was such a heavy amount of money to spend on a daily trainer that I just completely shunned it from the off. But as the years gone by, and a lot of those first impressions that you guys gave me in some of the comments of the videos was, oh, I'm not sure about this shoe, it's really weird. But as the years gone on, a lot of you have said that actually the Invincible has become a really reliable shoe for you and you've really, really enjoyed it. And actually you come away from running in that shoe feeling like you've barely done any miles at all. You feel kind of like the Zoom X just really helps you recover. When you're running, it just doesn't take any stress out on the legs. It feels so good. And I think to myself, actually, despite the weight, and I have had the option to pick up this shoe in various sales for under £100, should I have taken up on this, or should I have taken it up on this offer and grabbed a pair? I'm now sitting tight on it and I'm waiting for January to see if there's a version 2. I've not heard any rumours of a version 2. I don't know what they're planning to do with this shoe, but I'm thinking now we're in December, there's going to be more sales on this shoe soon at some point. I may or may not take the plunge if I can find it for under £100, but if I hear rumours that maybe version 2 is going to come out, then I might just bite the bullet, be prepared to spend that £160 on version 2 and see what all the fuss is about. And finally, the fifth shoe that I want to talk about today is the New Balance More V3. Again, another shoe that so many of you have raved about, and actually one that I've had my eye on and have had no excuse not to buy it, other than once again, I've just had such a solid pairing of daily trainers throughout the year that I've just thought to myself, I'd like to have two easy to daily trainers because I do a lot more speed miles and prefer to have more speed shoes. shoes than I do with my daily trainers. And I thought to myself, with the Nova Blast, and I can't remember what it was paired with earlier in the year, but then moving it on to the Mach 4, do I really need another one in the rotation? And I thought, oh, I loved the 1080 version 10. I haven't tried the 11, but the 10 was absolutely spectacular. Such a great shoe. And I gather from a lot of you guys, again in comments, various comments throughout the year, that this thing is super comfy, super cushioned, and another one that babies the legs and makes you feel great once you've run in it. It's another shoe that I feel like New Balance, that Fresh Foam X that they use, the Fresh Foam in the Beacons I did struggle with. I found it just a little bit too firm, but the Fresh Foam X that I enjoyed in the 1080-10, I just thought a little bit more of that in the more. It just sounds like absolute heaven. So again, that's a shoe for me that really I don't have that much of an excuse, other than, as I said, I just had a couple of solid rotations going and I thought I don't really know, or I don't really need a third one to slot in, but it's one that I'm 100% going to be keeping my eye on in 2022 for the next version. Now here's a bonus shoe for you that I didn't chuck in there because it wasn't released in 2021, but one that keeps coming back to haunt me, that keeps wanting me to try it, and I keep sitting on the fence and thinking, no, I'm not going to spend that much money. And then it goes on sale and I think, oh, maybe I should try it, and then I don't try it, and I keep umming and ahhing and thinking, shall I get it to test out for my next marathon? Or now shall I wait for version 2? Now the rumours are out there, and it is indeed the Alpha Fly. So again, in the beginning, I was not keen on trying this. £270, I was not interested, or 260, whatever it is. I just thought to myself, no, I cannot justify spending that much money on a racing shoe, considering I hated the Tempo Next Percent so much, the trainers, the AirPods underneath the feet. It was just such a peculiar feeling. But so many of you said to me at the time, you really can't compare these shoes, they're chalk and cheese. The carbon plate gives those AirPods a completely different sensation. The nylon plate in the Tempo Next, really, for me, I barely even felt it, and it really just felt like I was sinking in to the ground, whereas apparently with the carbon plate in the Alpha Fly, there's much more snap and pop in it. And again, something that I think to myself, I see all these reports everywhere about how efficient this shoe is, how great it is. Do I just need to bite the bullet and try it? Obviously, recently, as you saw my Black Friday sale video, you saw the Alpha Fly was on sale for £155. And guess what? None of those versions were in my size. The only one that was discounted was the Volt Pack colorway, which, by the way, is my favorite colorway, but it was full price. So taking the discount off that, it ended up being about £200, £210. So it wasn't quite the bargain that you guys were grabbing for the 155. Trust me, if my version was on 155, I would have bought it and it would have been the next shoe. This video right now would be Alpha Fly first impressions, but sadly it's not. Again, I just thought to myself, if it was 155, like so many of you, I would have bought it, but it was just over £200. I don't yet have a marathon booked on the horizon. It's just going to sit there in the cupboard. I'd rather spend the 200 elsewhere and come back to it at a later date. So it's another shoe that it keeps passing me by, but one I think I'm just going to bite the bullet on. And if version 2 comes out relatively soon, I might just go for that instead. So obviously there have been some notable absentees from this video. Brands like Adidas, brands like Reebok. These are shoes all of you always say to me, Andy, try the Energy Float Ride 3, or try whatever Adidas, the Bostons or the Adios Adizero Pros, all of that. They don't do my size. It's so frustrating. And of course there's other super shoes out there. The Hyperion Elite 2, that was another one I really wanted to try because I love the Hyperion Tempo. I thought what a great shoe that would be to test out. Again, didn't do my size. Very frustrating. So there are lots of brands out there that still don't cater for a UK size 13. Being a running shoe YouTuber, it can be quite difficult. Not the best size to be, but thankfully most brands do cater and we'll get there in the end. I'd love to know from you guys in the comments below, what are the shoes that have passed you by this year? Or maybe not so much passed you by, but that you've seen and thought, I'd love to try that one day, and it's maybe waiting on your hit list for next year when it comes on sale, or just a shoe that you're just loving the look of and you can't wait to test out. Let me know in the comments below, and let's get that discussion going. If you enjoyed today though, guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.